Wilder Show podcast. I'm Scott. That's Lauren.
Hello.
Hey, Lauren. How are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
Pretty good today.
Yeah.
Instagram, find us there, Wilder Show Pod. And you'll like us and you'll follow and pass it on to your friends. We appreciate that. If you want to send us an email, just send it to podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays before 6 a.m. And you find it wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube. And we're also on the TikTok. Find us there, Wilder Show on the TikTok. So wherever you get your podcasts, like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share.
Do you also go to the Walmart?
And we thank you for that. I don't go to the Walmart much.
Yeah.
You know why?
Why?
Because crowds. There's not really much on the Charlie Kirk update.
Yeah.
I mean, there is plenty, but it's all sort of wild and out there. And I'm just talking about from the FBI.
From an official news standpoint, maybe.
From what Kash Patel said we're going to pursue. We're going to leave no rock unturned. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do this and we'll do this and we'll find this and that's what I'm talking about. And I'm a little surprised, I must say. Here we are coming up on 2 weeks since the memorial service. And that was when Kash Patel said we're going to do this. There have been nothing. Not an update, not a newser, not a presser, nothing. Nothing released at all. And of course, there are other things that take its place, but I really didn't expect, and not because I liked Charlie Kirk, I didn't expect that this would be sort of edged out so quickly or be relegated to what some people could dismiss as sort of the crazy, far conspiracy theory folks. Anyway, so there you go. There's not really much new to get to there, but don't think that we haven't wondered and don't think that we're not paying attention. Mm-hmm. The shutdown, got to talk about the shutdown.
Yeah.
You know, this is one of those things where, again, I've said before, and Democrats don't get it. I don't think they do get it. And it's complicated to go through the whole thing. What is a CR? What is a continuing resolution? Why can't they get it together? Then when you don't get a continuing resolution, you have to have the stopgap measure. You have people that are not going to get paid, or they are going to get paid, but not right now. And sometimes the national parks might close or some impact there. There'll be somebody that TSA could have helped, or maybe a flight is delayed and somebody's going to say, see, because of the shutdown, you know, this woman didn't make it home for her dad's funeral or something. And that will be the story that is told. But, you know, if you worked for a place that was looking to make changes, maybe trim the fat, and you say, well, I'm not in the fat. I'm part of the muscle of your organization. If you're going to trim the fat, it's not me. I mean, I'm here.
Right.
Well, if the whole thing got put on pause and then they're going to bring people back, especially work for the federal government, where for a long time people have wanted to trim some of the, fraud, abuse, and waste, right?
Sure.
And they've already done some of that with the Doge. Some people say they didn't go far enough. So you've already heard the president say, hey, listen, you know what? No, I didn't want this, but the fact that we have it here now, maybe we won't bring everybody back. Maybe we'll use this as an opportunity to sort of continue the culling. And I think that's where Democrats don't get it. Mm-hmm. You know, we lived in a world for a while, a long time, where, I mean, the real olden times, we had Walter Cronkite and Peter Jennings and Dan Rather, whoever were before them, Roger Mudd, David Brinkley. And those were the only ones that had the truth. And everybody watched it and they were told what it was. And even Cronkite said, that's the way it is. Yeah. And that we said, okay, well then dust your hands off.
That's the way it is.
That's the way it is then. And Walter Cronkite said it. I mean, you know, if God had a mustache, that's the way it is. Mm-hmm. And then the media's expanded. You know, there are other places. You got CNN, you got the Fox News, you got the different ones, the MSNBC and the CNBC and the different places. And they got the, whatever the other ones are, they're more conservative and the little middle of the roads. And then you have now alternative media. And you have people doing podcasts that are getting They have 5 million followers or more.
Right.
But every single day, they might have 180,000 people watching this little 1-hour show. Well, they're at least competitive with some of these others.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at the numbers of CNN and Fox News and ABC, CBS, NBC, and some of these different groups, whether it's Megyn Kelly or whoever, people that used to be at the mainstream media and now they're doing their own thing. They get a lot of juice.
Yeah.
And so you think, wow, so there's not going to be this consensus there was before. I don't think Democrats can count on what they have always been able to count on, and that is mainstream media is going to carry the water for us. They may still do that. They may carry the water for the Democratic side, but what if just as much or more water is being carried by others for the other side, and your numbers on your side have gone down?
Yeah.
Then it makes a big difference. There's been a very much a what do you call it? Like an equaling. What am I trying to say? It's like a
leveling of the playing field.
There you go. Been a leveling of the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
And even though those people get their news from different places than the cable or satellite TV or whatever, the different streamers or what, they may get it in a different way. But the question is, can these people, no matter how that information is delivered, can these other people that don't carry the water of Democrats, can they deliver their message? And if they can, I think it's really a miscalculation on the part of Democrats, because they've always been able to say, the Chuck Schumer of the world, the Chuck Schumers of the world believe, well, we'll just go on the thing and say this is Donald Trump's shutdown.
And everybody will believe
That's
us.
right, and that's that.
We'll
That's all we have to.
points.
That's right. All we have to do is say that.
Uh-huh.
And then maybe CNN will say it over and over and over again. And CNN will do their own poll and say, look, 60% of Americans think it's Trump's fault. You mean the 60% of Americans that you asked after you told whose fault it was thought that, wow, that's really, you're not doing that good, because 60% you told them you should be at 80 or 90%. What's going on with you? Very bad frequency and promo work, guys. And so I think that it's a miscalculation. I really do. I think we're going to find out it's a bad thing. I have people that I know and love who right now are not getting paid. Military is not getting paid. Others are not getting paid. It's all going to work out. I think it's going to work out before those checks would have been issued. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if, for example, you got your check and then inside 20 days, this is all fixed. It's not that you won't be paid for the work that you did, but you didn't have the peace of mind knowing that you would be paid in another, 10 days or whatever at the end of the month. I think it's going to all be fixed. What's going to happen in the meantime? I think, look, Trump is bringing the heat. He's good at this kind of stuff, the threat and the back off, right? The thing, a tariff's going to be this. Okay, we'll talk. We'll do something over here. Are we going to sell this? Okay, we'll wait. We'll talk. We'll extend I think that's the kind of stuff you're seeing now when it comes to the shutdown. The bottom line is, I don't really get too much in the weeds. Democrats, there was already something in place, and Democrats would not simply agree to what was already in place before that they had voted on, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
7 months ago? And they said, no, this time we're not going to do that. Okay. They wanted to force a shutdown or the threat of a shutdown. And the charge from Republicans is you wanted to bump it up by 1.0 to 1.5 trillion dollars and include things like health care for illegal aliens. Democrats say, no, that's not what we wanted at all. I say, no, yeah, you did. No, I didn't. Yeah, I did. Okay. Meanwhile, stuff gets shut down. I think the shutdown is going to harm Democrats politically. Look, it'll harm individuals right now.
Oh, sure.
And any individual, whether you are Republican or Democrat, if you end up losing your job, it's going to harm you, no question. But politically, who is it going to harm? I think it's going to harm Democrats more than it's going to harm Republicans. I think that they are used to Democrats are used to two things: a rather soft target in the position of president, and you don't have a soft target. I mean, soft in some ways, but you don't have a soft target he's a hardened target. He doesn't care what you think. He doesn't care what a bunch of people think. So you have a hardened target in Donald Trump there, and you don't have the strength of mainstream media in terms of the impact that it can make the way that you used to or the way that you think you do. That is a miscalculation. And I think it will come back to bite them, and maybe as soon as the midterms. And real quick, can I just give you some sort of boilerplate stuff on Social Security checks will continue. Medicaid and Medicare will continue. Veterans health and VA benefits are going to continue. Postal service is going to continue. Law enforcement, national security, criminal justice, like the FBI, U.S. Marshals, DOJ, continue. Air traffic control, deemed essential, continue. TSA, continue. Homeland Security, continue. Okay, so a bunch is going to continue. Now, some of the stuff that might be impacted, IRS operations that are non-essential functions, small business and farm programs, new SBA loans may be halted. USDA farm loan programs may be impacted. National parks, which we mentioned, museums, visitor centers may be impacted. Environmental inspections, food and drug safety might be impacted. So you get the idea.
I do.
Permits, licensing, things like that might be impacted. I think we survive. I do. I think we'd survive. It's better than, and this happens all the time in government, By the way, on both sides do this. Let's take it out. Don't talk about Democrats for a second. Let's say it's a Republican. And let's say Republicans, for example, I'm making this up. Republicans wanted to have something specific about abortion. And they didn't feel like they could win that argument if they had that argument as a standalone argument. We want to provide X number of funds for this, that, or the other. And let's say it was $500 million. They want to provide $500 million for assistance for girls and women who choose to keep their babies. I'm just making this up.
Yeah.
Let's say Republicans wanted to put that in there. And let's say that they felt like there's no way we can get this pushed through sort of on its own merit. And maybe even we don't really believe it like we think we do. We have to say this for our constituents or whatever. And so they say, you know what? Got an idea. Let's slip it into a bill. Let's slip it into I see we have a bill coming up about Homeland Security. Let's put as a rider in this other bill, because we know that people are going to feel pressure to vote for Homeland Security.
Sure.
We just had this threatened, blah, blah, blah. We got to have Homeland Security.
Right.
So let's slip it in there. That's such a phony way to do business. And that's sort of what's happened here with this. If you want to have a separate conversation about funding of health insurance for illegals, that's a great conversation. Let's have that conversation. Let's have that vote. But you don't just slip it in. Whether it's continuing what we've done before that is about to end or adding something that is not currently being done. Either way, it's net the same thing. You want to do something that would be going away, or you want to add something that is not there now. It's all the same thing. So that's sort of the skunky part of legislation that I hate. I really hate that ever takes place. Yeah, I hate it when we do it.
It does all the time, though, right?
All the time.
Yeah.
Well, all the time until it's noticed and called out and said, we're not doing that. And that's what Republicans said here. We're not going to do that. We offered the opportunity to continue for 7 more weeks, 9 more weeks, whatever the continuing resolution was. They don't want to do it. Shut down. It's on them. And it always seems to be that compromise. Why is it that compromise always is conservatives coming and changing something to the side of Democrats or to the side of liberals?
Do you?
Why is that? Why is that what compromise means? When's the last time Democrats would say, okay, we're here to have a conversation. We're going to compromise. Here's what we're going to give up that we really want this, but we're going to give this up. And in exchange, we want you to give up something. That's what a compromise is.
Yeah.
A compromise is not just one side. That's not a compromise. That's called a capitulation.
Let me ask you a question, because I think really I've been listening to you talk about stuff like this for decades, and I really do think you are very fair about these things, and you are able to look at them from both sides in a way that I don't think is necessarily typical. Don't you think that happens on both sides, though?
Oh, yeah, I do. Sure, yeah. Absolutely. That's what I was saying. I mean, I think Republicans have done the same thing. But here's the deal. If one side has basically the power and they can bulldoze the other side, but they're willing to listen to some of the things you might want to do, it's up to frankly, the lesser side. And many times that's the Republicans. In this case, it's not. Republicans of the House and the Senate and the White House.
So you'd be advocating for the Republicans to do that if the roles were reversed in terms of who had the power and who really was in a position to compromise.
I think each side should do what's in their best interest, but they should not miscalculate in a way it's going to harm their constituents over time.
Yeah.
And I think what Democrats are doing is going to harm. I think they've miscalculated. They are living in a different era. You know, Democrats, liberals generally in America they live in either the Vietnam era or they live in the Watergate era. Honestly, they've been stuck in both those places for a long, long time. Look at who the leaders are. Chuck Schumer. Go back to the Watergate days. Yeah. Go back to the Vietnam. You're going to find many of these same people and certainly the same thinking on that side. Mm-hmm. One of the many things that have changed about the Democratic Party is they have gotten smaller in the sense ideologically. Mm-hmm. There's only one political side that is open to differing positions on life. That is the conservative side. Yeah. The conservative side is open. Our doors are open on the conservative side. Only one side is open to the differences on many things like that. But life is probably the best example. Abortion is what I mean, the sanctity of life. You cannot be a person that is outwardly pro-life and be welcomed in the Democrat Party. You're not welcome.
Yeah.
You're not down for the cause or whatever. And it's not the case. There are plenty of people in the Republican Party that are not staunchly pro-life. They would say that they're fiscally conservative and socially moderate.
Right.
And they're still welcome. Mm-hmm. Still welcome. I mean, if you went down the list, some are obviously quite strong on pro-life issue or sanctity of life or the position on traditional marriage, either one of those, but not all. And so you have Democrats, that's that weird thing of the leadership of the Democratic Party is stuck in an old way of thinking in a world where media now cannot be relied on to do what it has always done for you. Mm. It did your bidding for so long, and it worked. It was great, but that was then. It's a different day. I mentioned that I was at church over the last weekend. Uh-huh. Did I mention that in the last podcast? I think I did.
I think you did. Yeah. It was a part of your very big weekend fair. And
right. You were saying, you did a lot. You did
grandbaby celebrations.
That's right. Mm-hmm. We had a baby dedication. Mm-hmm. And so I'd been to a church where I'd never been before. And I've been invited many times. It just didn't work out that I could do it. And so I went to this church. I had never been to a church service for this church at this building before. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, there were 2 or 3 uniformed police officers at the main entrance. 1 or 2 inside that entrance had walked around to do a different sort of event at a different entrance. Mm-hmm. There was 1 over there, I think 1 outside. And it didn't make me wonder, oh, gosh, this is terrible. What's going on? It was very comforting for me. Mm-hmm. But then you look at what's happened even, as we're taping this today.
Yes.
On Yom Kippur.
Yeah.
Which is the Day of Atonement, and you have a guy walking into a synagogue. He's got at least based on early reports, he has a suicide vest on. So the question is, what do we do at churches? And what do you do for safety? Should churches, there's a piece in the news saying churches are having to beef up security. I think it's a good idea to beef up security. I think what you ought to do is have you have uniformed people outside and you have plainclothes people inside. Mm-hmm. The bad guys hopefully repelled by the sight of those that are uniformed. And then if something goes awry, you have people inside that can get the job done and probably have some parishioners who could do it too.
There are a whole lot of churches that are going to say, we can't afford that.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to figure out what you have to maybe cut back on the gardening budget. maybe the gardening and the flowers and all the things, the lawn budget.
I'm talking about churches like little churches that don't have a big garden. I'm not talking about churches that cover
massive,
multiple acres with several buildings on campus. I think it is probably more likely to believe that those would be a target just because they are so big. And fortunately, they probably have the budget to include the kind of protection that you're talking about. But I think there are probably a whole lot of other churches. They don't have the gardening budget is whoever is willing to volunteer to bring a few flats of pansies, in the fall to plant them, by the entryway. And they're going to be out of luck when it comes to really bolstering their security.
I was being a little glib, obviously. You have some of these churches that are the higher profile ones. They are the ones that probably, if you think of a bad guy wanting to do bad things for huge publicity. Yeah. Sometimes you would go to maybe those. But then you have soft targets. You might have places that wouldn't be so well secured. The bottom line is I think you have to find a way. You have to maybe you make that part of your business meeting at the church, and you say, "Look, we're going to have to do something more." I think first of all, you're going to have people in your congregation that are licensed to carry. You're going to have people in your congregation that could be some assistance for security purposes, and there may be training that has to go on in all that. But you're also going to have the opportunity for whatever your municipality is, police officers. To be there. Maybe it's just bring a car and the car is sitting out front. I don't know. Yeah. But there's got to be a way to do it. You have to be able to do it. You can't have a scenario where people don't feel safe going to church. I really do think that churches can do it. You might be surprised at how inexpensive it would be to do that relative to a lot of the other things that we spend money on at churches, not just huge landscaping budgets and all that kind of stuff. But I think you'd be surprised. I remember when I was growing up, there was a smaller church growing up, and there was a guy who was a member there of the church, and he was a police officer. And so he would come and he would do that. And I don't know what he charged, but I know it was completely reasonable. And he was armed and he was uniformed, and the squad car was there or whatever. I think you can do it if you want to do it. And I think it would be a comfort to your parishioners if you did. Bad Bunny. Just a brief word. Can I speak on behalf of Bad Bunny?
Sure.
Now, I'm going to be speaking in English. Okay. So I'm going to throw everybody off. So he's getting a weird rap, I think. Politically, he's not for the president, but it's a deal where the people are saying that he hates America. I don't know him. I don't know if he hates America or not. But it seems to me what they're saying is that because he didn't do a tour in the United States, it's a combination of things. He didn't do his tour in the United States. He did it in Puerto Rico. And he didn't do it in the United States because he didn't want his concert venues to be places where ICE then would come and raid. Knowing that there might be a lot of people there. Might be illegal. Yeah. I'll say a little bit each one of these things. And that he sings almost exclusively in Spanish. Okay, so he's from Puerto Rico. He decides to do his tour in Puerto Rico. He doesn't want to make his congregants, he doesn't want to make his concert goers nervous. Unsafe. Well, they would say unsafe. What he would say is unsafe. Unsafe from being arrested. Now, obviously, hopefully, none of them would be illegal, and it wouldn't be a problem. Everybody could go right in. But some people might feel intimidated. He didn't want to do that. From a business standpoint, you could say, the people who did want to come see you in the United States and for whom this would not have been a problem, you just didn't want them to have that opportunity here because of that. And you know what? That's a business decision. And I think the answer to that is yes, that is correct. I didn't want to do that. For now. He's toured in America before. Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely. And he'll probably tour in America again at some point in the future. But right now, that was his decision. And look, he was vocal. He's not a Trump fan. And that's okay. I would be really surprised. A poll of the last 10 years of Super Bowl halftime performances to find out, which side they support. I think I know for most of them. I don't think it really matters. I don't really care as long as they keep the politics out of the performance. I don't care. I really don't care. Now, So those are the things that I think it's kind of a bad rap. I don't care if he doesn't like Trump. I don't think that means he hates America. There are people who live in America that don't like Trump, and I don't think that means they hate America. Or maybe you're listening, it's true of you. I don't think you hate America. I don't think. The fact that he wouldn't tour here this time, I don't think that means he hates America. In fact, the fact that he was on Saturday Night Live, was it the season premiere?
He will be.
Yeah.
This
will
weekend
be. This
is
weekend.
The season premiere. Yeah.
He'll be on Saturday Night Live this weekend. And he will, I think, probably sing only in Spanish.
He's been on before, and I think he's only sung in Spanish.
Yeah. Now, I would say that that is not evidence that he hates America.
No.
So for me, if he at the Super Bowl only sings in Spanish, I don't think that is evidence that he hates America. Now, so that is put aside.
Uh-huh.
The separate question for me is, and again, this is not the main concern that I've seen that people have. His decision to only sing in Spanish is his decision.
Mm-hmm.
What we're talking about is, was it a wise choice by the NFL to have him be the person that does the halftime performance? So just say one word about that, and then we'll be open for questions. Or certainly, Lauren,
dissent,
rebuttal.
Dissent, or yeah.
The Super Bowl is the quintessential American sporting event. We call it football. Where he grew up, they call that football too. We call ours football. And when the World Cup came around, guess what? The whole world had to agree with us. That's called soccer because they did in all of the promotions, even worldwide, soccer. Now, they still privately call it football, and that's right. They were football before we were football. And I understand, but we're America, and so we won. So it's the quintessential American sporting event.
Mm-hmm.
There is a language that is the most common language, if not the official language, officially official language in America, and it's English. English is the common language, the predominant language in America. This has not to do with whether some people in America speak another language, or whether some people in America who speak English also really like his music, or some people in America who speak both languages or many languages and really understand his music will enjoy him at the halftime. That for me, none of that matters. The question is, out of all the people that they could have that could be invited to do the Super Bowl, does it make most sense? Now, this is to me, and who am I? Obviously, it made most sense to them. That's who they picked. Mm-hmm. So check plus, and move on. So I'm not going to take the side of people who say he hates America, but I am going to say I do wonder whether that makes the most sense to have someone who will, I'll say refuse. I mean, if he sings only in Spanish, clearly you've decided not to sing in any of the language, obviously. If you're singing in Spanish, you're obviously not singing in English, so choice is made. And does that, and again, I'm talking about from the NFL standpoint, not from Bad Bunny or whatever his name is. He can do whatever he wants to do. They asked him. He said yes. He's going to perform for free. He'll get the exposure. Mm-hmm. Doesn't need the money. Doesn't frankly need the exposure either. I think worldwide, he has the most.
Beyonce didn't need the exposure either. Bruce Springsteen didn't need the exposure. And Katy Perry didn't. Lady Gaga, mm-hmm. They didn't need the exposure. Mm-hmm. But that is what the policy is. You don't get paid for doing it. You just get the exposure.
Right.
That it brings.
Right. I'll bring that up because we said that last time with Taylor Swift. She didn't need the exposure, and she didn't need the money.
Yeah, she wanted something different.
That's right. We talked about that, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So in any case, the question is, did it make sense? Do I agree that it makes sense to have someone who refuses to sing English at the quintessential American sporting event at the halftime? Does that make sense to me? It doesn't make that much sense to me, except this. And then we'll open the floor for dissent, Lauren.
Okay.
You load up there. The NFL is very interested in international. The NFL has many games in other countries, mm-hmm. including Mexico. I don't know if you noticed or not, but people that are Mexican-American or maybe Mexicans who live in America or other Latinos who live they love American football. They're some of our biggest fans mm-hmm. of the Dallas Cowboys are Mexican-Americans.
Yeah.
So I don't think if that's what they're doing as part of their international push. We have more and more games. We have a game this year in Sao Paulo.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, we had a game in Brazil. Well, they don't speak English there. We had a game in London, a game wherever, a game in Mexico. So if that's part of the deal, that's part of the long-term plan. Okay, you want to be a world sport? You think that's the way you're going to do it? That's great. So that's really all I'd say. I don't think he hates America. I just wonder whether makes the most sense to have someone not speak English at an English-speaking event in the country that speaks English at the most important halftime of the most important quintessentially American event of the year.
You did say something a little while ago. You said somebody who refuses to sing in English. And I think that might be a mischaracterization. I don't think anybody has said, we'd really like you to sing in English, though. Yeah. And he said, no, I refuse to sing in English. It's not that he refuses to sing in English. He just doesn't sing in English.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said, if you sing in one language, clearly you're not singing in another language. I mean, a choice is made. He has chosen. I'm not saying he was asked to speak English and he refused to do it. But if you can sing in English and you choose to sing in Spanish, okay, you didn't refuse to sing in English. You just chose to not sing in English and only sing in Spanish. So if that changes the feel of my point, then change it. That's fine.
I don't have anything against him. I'm not really a fan, though, either. I think when we talked about this last week, I said, just several days before all of this happened, I had texted one of my kids and said, what is it that I'm missing about Bad Bunny? Because I like a lot of different music. I like a lot of the music that they started listening to when they were teenagers and that they listen to now that they're in their late 20s. And early 30s, all different kinds of music. Big Bad Bunny, I just could never really, I don't get it. I don't have anything against him. It's just not my cup of tea. Plenty of Super Bowl halftimes have not been my cup of tea. And I might sit and watch it just to enjoy the show, but it doesn't mean I'm going to start streaming their music or that I was before or anything like that. But I think I'm also not the decider of what is good and what is going to appeal to a whole lot of people that aren't me. And I don't know that they're necessarily making any statement here other than this is the guy who we think is going to get a whole lot of eyes on the halftime show and make a whole lot of money for Tostitos or whoever is the sponsor of the Super Bowl 60 halftime show. I don't have a problem with him not singing in English. I think there are a whole lot of American speakers. For him to have as many streams as he has and be as popular as he is in the places that he is, there have to be a whole lot of American speakers and probably speakers of languages that are not Spanish that are enjoying what he does. Whether they have to, run the lyrics through a translator before they know what he's really singing about. I think if they thought he was going to make money and there would be a lot of eyes on the halftime show, they wouldn't care. The Super Bowl people would not care if he was going to sing exclusively in Pig Latin. That might be somebody else's bag, might not be mine. But if they thought enough people were going to watch, I think that's all. That's all it's about. And I don't feel like that's a problem for me as an English speaker. I don't feel offended as an American and English speaker.
Yeah. I wasn't saying be offended by him deciding to sing in Spanish. That's sing in any language he wants. I was talking about from the invitation standpoint.
I don't think that's a problem for them. I mean, I don't think it's out of character for them to make that choice.
Let me also say, I don't think he's I think he will sing something in English. Maybe he won't. And if he doesn't, maybe it's the first time ever we've had a halftime show at the Super Bowl where it is not in English, that nothing was in English. That would be different. We agree on that. Out of 60 halftime performances, it'd be the first time that the common language of the country in which the game is taking place would not be used in the halftime.
Yes.
Yeah. One thing I didn't mention before, and I do disagree with him on this, is Puerto Rican statehood, 51st state. Not for that. Not for that for 100 reasons we don't have to get into here. But you know what? If I were from Puerto Rico, I might be for that. Sure. I might be for that if I were from Puerto Rico. If I were from Guam, I might be for that.
Sure.
If I lived in D.C., I might want D.C. statehood. I'm not from any of those places. I'm from Texas, and I like 50. 50's good. Oh, it is time for Scattershoot.
Let's go.
Wilder Show Scattershoot.
Mm-hmm. You and I talk about AI a lot.
Yes, we do.
We debate AI.
Yeah, it's true.
And what I mean, I'm not saying that there's not. That I'm sure there's lots of. I think you and I debate sometimes the good and the bad. Mm-hmm. I know you are right that we're already. I mean, you can't talk about what's coming anymore.
Right,
it's here. Certainly. In this last week, you've heard the name Tilly Norwood.
She is a brunette actress. It appears in her maybe mid to late 20s.
She's not even really a she. I mean, she's AI generated. She's not real. She's not real. She is attractive. I would say maybe even a little bit. I don't know if anybody's named her or given her an age. But she's young and dark hair and really pretty smile, and SAG-AFTRA is really upset.
So
what
is she's a synthetic creation made with AI, but she's not currently been in anything.
Well,
But she has the Margot Robbie smile, sort of a little bit.
Yeah. I guess you could say that. Hadn't even really noticed that. Yeah.
But Tilly Norwood, has Union SAG and AFTRA. Screen Actors Guild and
dozens of actors too. Really
stepping
upset
up saying, So what is the beef? What is the problem?
Well, she's not she has no. Well, okay, there are several things. She would not have the human emotion that they believe is necessary to really convey what they do when they are acting, and anything like that she displays has been mined from what she's learned from other actors and actresses doing that thing. So they believe that anything she does was created by us.
Okay, a couple of layers here because I'm reading what Sean Astin, who is the SAG-AFTRA president, says. He says Tilly Norwood is not an actual human performer; it's an artificial intelligent construct. We know that. He goes on to say, different people will try and create new and interesting things, and it's an exciting environment, but nothing will ever replace a human being. And I agree with everything he said. However, when you say she doesn't have the emotion, how many times have I been to the movie with someone who is watching something that is computer generated, whether it's the facial expressions on something from Pixar or whether it's something really looks human, it's an animal that has these human characteristics and he was looking up and, or how about this?
Yeah, but those are not human.
No, I understand that, but what does it matter?
Yeah.
What does it matter? Well, you have the monkey, you have the monkeys.
It wouldn't, if I...
You have the monkeys on the Planet of the Apes. And not the old ones that are all plastic masks and the makeup. I'm talking about the ones
that, but I know what that is. Well, I know that that's computer generated, or I know that is, a man in a monkey suit with a lot of makeup,
prosthetics and whatnot. Yeah. Okay. So you're saying that what makes that different is that it's not really a monkey.
And talking monkeys don't really exist.
Right.
This is the creation of somebody to look like something that does exist.
But the movie Avatar is one of the biggest movies of ever, and so much of that was computer generated. Yeah. Those people are not really blue people, and they don't have those weird foreheads.
I know, but Tilly Norwood, this particular AI generated creation, she's not blue. She doesn't. I mean,
so
she
if she
looks
were blue,
like,
would it look any different? Would that
well,
would be
they
acceptable
wouldn't be trying
if she
to
were
pass her off as a human being.
But let me stay on this topic of the fact that we now know Tilly Norwood is not a real human being. So now that we know that, is it okay for her to be in movies? No, it's still not okay. Well, why? Because if the answer to these other things was, we knew that wasn't this. And in this case, they're trying to pass her off as Tilly Norwood, forget about future Tilly Norwoods. This particular, quote, actress, this AI generated entity, now that we all know, she's not a real person. What's the beef?
There are already people who could do that job. Also, remember the whole thing when the last Willy Wonka thing came out? Little Timmy Chalamet was Willy Wonka, and there were a lot of people who were upset because who was the Oompa Loompa? You like him? You like him a lot. Hugh Grant was the little computer generated Oompa Loompa.
Okay.
And all of the Oompa Loompas were computer generated.
Okay.
I think there was an outcry from actors who are little people that could have done, they could have played. Why did they have to make Hugh Grant a little person and then just copy him to make a bunch of little people when we could have had real actors play those parts?
Well, but the answer may be because it was more cost efficient for them. That's what they wanted to do. It was their movie, like it's their halftime show. They could do whatever they want to do with their movie. They decided to get Hugh Grant and multiply him, and that's just the way it goes. And if they wanted other, but
Absolutely.
I'm just saying that in the same way, we have graphic designers that do things on computer that used to be done with painting cells. We have all kinds of things that could be done a different way.
I know, and they were really upset when they didn't have jobs anymore because we figured out a way for a computer. I mean, if
we'll never go back.
I know that's the problem.
We're never going to paint cells anymore.
Do you think it's really so wrong though for people to hold on to what they have and hold on? I mean, I listened. You and I talked about this, and this is something that I hope we can talk about on a future podcast. I heard somebody talking about AI yesterday, and he was talking about. One of his points was just because you can make AI generated music and you can listen to AI generated music, it doesn't mean that there won't still be kids in a garage with their garage band.
Sure.
And it doesn't mean that you still won't go to the bar down the street to hear live music played. There will still be people playing live music.
Yep.
But are we sure of that? I mean, when we found a way for animation to be done without animators,
sure.
Did they think, well, or were they told it's okay? You're still gonna, there's a lot of stuff that you're still gonna get to do, but there's, just for the sake of time and for the sake of budgets, and some of it is going to be done now by computer. If this was your life's work to be an actor. Would you not see this and think, now are we all going to be replaced? And not only selfishly is my job going to be replaced, but is this thing that I've kind of given, that is my whole, my career, is all of that going to go away? Is that even not going to be a thing anymore? Because they're going to be able to just make AI generated people. And you know what? They'll never argue about how much nudity are they willing to do? What do they need they'll do whatever you want them to do.
Sure. Well, several layers there. Imagine being a place in town that makes the best hamburger. The fact that McDonald's sells billions has not done away with the people that make great hamburgers. There's still people, there always will be people who will do it the hard way. They'll get better beef. They won't freeze it. They don't do this. They don't do this. They do it the right way, and they'll make a better burger. So somehow Keller's is still around, even though McDonald's are on every corner, or whoever your favorite burger place is. So that's one level. But I don't think that the ethos, the world, owes anybody the continuation of the ability to do the job the way it has always been done. The one thing I think they have going for them is this. All AI, and it's the Wild West for sure. There's still lawsuits that are out there about the music AI.
Sure.
That what they do, they took everything that ever was recorded, and it's all been digitized. And so I can't say, I want Taylor Swift's voice to sing my happy birthday to me or whatever. You can't do that. You have to do, the prompters are really important. You have to say certain things in the style of this, and it's not just a workaround. It actually is quite different. If you wanted to achieve that, could you achieve it? Maybe with, paragraphs long of prompts that would be very, very specific. But what I think the lawsuits and the different things that are out there right now have to do with what is the right of AI to have garnered all these things, these truths about musical performance, whether it's instrumental or whether it's vocal, if it was garnered from people whose work is just out there and they are not compensated and they did not give permission. A long, long time ago, I said to you about, I think it was Ernie Anderson. Ernie Anderson, one of our favorite voice guy, the Love Boat, and Herman Woolf's Winds of War, the Love Boat, that guy. He did. I said, get him in a studio, have him do every possible phonic combination, pay him $10 million, and someday we will be able to take that which we now own and make him say anything we want, which sounded crazy.
Stepford Wives treatment.
I mean, which sounded crazy way back when. It was like, you mean like cut and paste? Exactly like cut and paste. You mean you could type something up and his voice would be doing that thing? Yep, that's what I mean. We're sort of there. Now, can you imagine if you didn't get paid the $10 million and your voice or some amalgam of voices, you got him, you got the In a World, that guy, the movie guy, right? Don LaFontaine. You got Ernie Anderson and Don LaFontaine and all the voice guys. And you have an amalgam of all their voices, their abilities. Is that right to be able to do it? Because it was just out there in the ethos. I think that is where the actors have a case to be made, that she is actually, she is a creation of us. She may not look like Sean Astin, but his acting ability and all the things that have gone into who she would be able to be as an, quote, actress are due to things that people did not give their permission to be used. I think that is, and I think it probably can be solved, and it will apply to music, but it probably will be solved and attacked first because of little innocent-looking Tilly.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I don't think the world or the ethos owes me or anybody anything either. But for the reason that you just mentioned, and because I think that it feels, I don't know, maybe this is what happens in every generation as they see things that they held dear being lost to some new ideas, new technology. Your tendency, I think, is to hold on to the things that you think make us human, make us real.
Yeah, I totally understand. I guess I see it more as dogs can't really talk. They don't have opposable thumbs, whether they're cartoon or otherwise. The monkeys on Planet of the Apes and all their emotion as they, are mourning the death of the old monkey, and look how sad they look. It's just like a person. It's all computer generated. I mean, it's just the computers aid the director in telling the story the director wants to tell. And this is a new possibility, and it's going to happen. The question is, how do we make it happen? If somebody says, well, I don't really want to work on a green screen against a Tilly. You worked on a green screen against a make-believe dinosaur or a witch or anything else that was computer generated. You look scared, and you look out the window of the car, and there's nothing really there. But when the movie is all made, it's a Tyrannosaurus Rex head breathing and we don't have real Tyrannosaurus Rexes that could have done that job. Well, we have real dogs that could have been in the Superman movie. Why did they use a made-up dog?
Tough to make them fly.
They made the man fly.
They did, yeah. I understand.
You put a dog on the green screen?
It's different with dogs. It's different with dinosaurs that don't exist anymore. It's different with monkeys that exist in a movie world that do not exist in the real world.
So if we had taking off of this, if we had a crowd scene that needed 10,000 people, it would be wrong to use a computer to generate the other 9,900 from the 100 that you have, because there are people out there that could use the money.
I think that's been done already.
No, I understand, but I'm asking what this
movie purists will fight that. But that is different. Yeah. You've seen this AI actress talk, and having a crowd full of duplicated.
So if they're extras, it's okay.
You mean
I'm
if
just
they're
asking.
duplicated extras?
Yeah, I'm just saying if you have a Coliseum,
Like I
and you
said,
have,
I mean, I think if it's AI, they've already put they've put these parameters in place for what you can do with AI.
let's take the Gladiator. I have no idea what they did for Gladiator, but they had lots and lots of people that appeared to be in the Coliseum. Whether you're talking about the remake, which I did not see, or the original one.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know whether they really had all those people or if they had digitized. See, we're all used to CG. It was that
CGI,
computer generated.
yeah. And I think that's used a
CGI.
lot. Yeah.
CGI. So AI is sort of a different version of CGI. AI would be if I can make all the people that I created in CGI maybe do different things from each other. They're not just a big blank slapping them in there, take this block and put it here and here and here and replace it and change a couple of things, but they're all going to be, you actually tell them, okay, now you can cheer differently than this one. You can cheer differently than this one. You're not starring in the movie, but you have a role in the movie, even though you're not a person. So I'm just trying to see, it doesn't matter wherever the line is, it's going to move.
I know, but
change.
listen, aren't there things? There are things that you don't want to let go of, right? There are things for your whole life, whether it was the way you chose to behave as a young person or the standards that were set in place that you set in place for your kids.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people said that's just what teenagers do now.
Yeah, sure.
And you still held that line for what you believed was right.
Absolutely.
What you knew to be right.
Sure, of course.
Just because we say it's going to happen, okay, let it go.
Yeah.
Just gangbusters, let it go.
I guess I just put in different categories who's going to be in a movie I may or may not see from how I raise my kids.
Yeah, it is different, but I think this is an indicator of where we're going with the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just who's going to be in a movie that you're never going to see. It's art. It's a lot of things that might not mean that much to you, but might mean things to the human race, to culture as we know it, that are going to change. That are changing. I know they're changing. I don't feel like it's necessarily what I want to do to just say, okay, let it change. You know that the women tend to live longer than men, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I don't really even know what the life expectancy is right now. I know it changes, it fluctuates.
I probably could tell you that.
You want to?
Yeah, I think it could. But go right
While
ahead.
you're looking that up, I will remind you that we've always had kind of traditional explanations for that. Men smoke more, they drink more. And they tend to engage in riskier behavior. But there is a growing body of evidence that suggests that women's relative longevity might come in part from having double X chromosomes, which is a redundancy, obviously. It protects it protects us from harmful mutations. If I have 2X chromosomes, if there's something wrong with one of them, I have the other one to back it up. That's
so
something that. Go ahead.
You have two kidneys.
Yeah. That's I hadn't even really thought about it that
so
way.
if one goes bad, you got a backup. It's like an extra tank of gas in your dually.
Yes, exactly. It's
and by
exactly
the way,
the
reason men die sooner than women is because they keep opposing them. And it doesn't go well.
Is that what it is? So funny.
Apparently.
Oh, okay. I don't think that's what it is. I think that might be that theory. Just turn that around.
Well, let me just say I completely agree with you, Lauren. Here are the numbers. Women, as of 2023, these numbers are as of 2023, live approximately 5.3 years longer than men.
Okay.
81.1 years for women and 75.8 years for men.
Okay.
There you go.
Interesting. Well, okay. So this research is not saying that those things that we talked about, smoking more, riskier behavior, drinking more, whatever those things are, that those still don't play a part in perhaps why men don't live as long as women do.
Okay.
But they have discovered that there might be more to it than that. So let's a little reminder here. In mammals, including humans, sex is generally determined by the X and Y chromosomes.
Okay.
If a baby has a pair of X chromosomes, she's a girl.
That's right.
If the baby has an X chromosome and a Y chromosome, he's a boy.
Correct.
In birds, that's reversed.
Is it really?
So a male bird has 2 different chromosomes.
Interesting.
No, wait, I'm wrong. A male bird has the same chromosomes.
Yeah.
A female bird is the one who has 2 different chromosomes.
Let me ask you this. Could that explain why and I'm being totally serious, that sometimes in birds, it is the male that is the prettier?
You know what? That's a really good question.
Is it the male that has the big, the peacock, the big, good-looking peacock? Isn't that the male, not the female? The female
You might
is the
be
hen.
right about that.
Female is the hen, and I think the same thing with the cardinal.
The male cardinals are the ones that are really that
Interesting.
brilliant red.
Interesting.
Well,
what's going on there?
if you, I don't think that was a part of this particular study at all, but that might, I'm kind of interested in knowing a little bit more of that now. So scientists use the letters for birds, W and Z, and it's a ZW pair for female birds and a ZZ pair for males. And crazy enough, male birds live longer than female birds.
There you go. So they have a backup. They have the extra tank for the dually.
They do.
Interesting, but it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if that could be it.
There is a lot more to it than this. I would really, it's a very interesting study. If you want to know more about it, send me an email to podcast@wildershow.com, and I will send you a link to the article. You can read all about it. I have good news and bad news.
Mr. Corleone insists on bad news immediately. Bad news first.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something really good about being in your late 50s.
Okay.
Late 50s and 60. The bad news is you and I are beyond that already.
Yeah, I was going to say this. You're talking about somebody else, not me.
We've already passed the sweet spot.
All right, tell me.
We know all about all of the things that make us feel worn out in middle age. You're more tired than you were in middle age.
Yep.
Harder to sleep, easier to put on weight, harder to take it off. But that, it appears, is when your mind is at its finest.
Really?
Yeah, there's decades of psychological research has come into this paper that the authors have called the Cognitive Personality Functioning Index. Okay. So it's a single measure that tracks how intelligence, judgment, and other key mental and personality traits evolve over the average lifespan. And the results show a pattern that overall functioning of the human brain reaches its zenith between 55 and 60.
Wow. See, I think I would have said probably, not just based on myself being sort of on the downhill slide for a long time, but I think I would have. Was I
supposed to argue?
Thanks a lot. I think I would have said probably 35 to 40. It's a big range, but I'd say 47. I would say somewhere in there. Those 12 years, I would think mentally, those might be the strongest years. Not that you go, drop off a cliff after that, but just that it's a little bit different. Mentally, you're just a little bit different.
Yeah, there are things that are different about your brain at that age. However, there are a lot of skills that bloom late.
That makes sense.
Moral reasoning, the ability to weigh competing principles, that deepens with experience, with time and experience that allows you to produce sounder judgments about fairness and duty. People also get better about making financial decisions. You are more likely to, it's probably just from a lifetime of dealing with bills and maybe making mistakes and learning from them and, making those types of decisions over a long period of time. Now, it's not all good news. Not everything improves. Your cognitive flexibility, the ability to shift smoothly between tasks or strategies when circumstances change. This is a little bit depressing. Cognitive empathy, the ability to intuit what others are thinking, fades with age.
Yeah, I see. You can't do it all. You learn from your mistakes. You learn, but also you learned that you learned enough to know that for example, not all ideas are equal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at a point where in my 60s or even my late 50s, I would guess, people are at a point where they say, I'm not going to, it's a waste of time for me to go down a road and treat all ideas as equal. And the thing we used to use on the radio as an example is if someone were to come to you and say slavery is just a different idea of how to run your country. Mm-hmm. We're not going to have a very long conversation about whether slavery is equal to freedom.
Listen, honestly.
So we're not going to go down this academic pretend of this is equal to this, and let's get you to agree with me. No. There's some things by the time you're 55 or so, you know, this just is true.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to spend a lot of time negotiating or trying to convince you that it's true. You can deny that it's true, or you can accept that it's true, but the way you feel about the truth of it does not impact whether or not it's true.
This says so much about the two of us and how different we are, because that's where your mind went. And I went more to the people who we know in our lives that maybe as they've aged, you might say they don't have as much of a filter anymore. Mm-hmm. So you're thinking about having a discussion with somebody who believes that maybe slavery is the right thing. And I'm thinking about somebody who might come out and say, are you going to wear that? You know, cognitive empathy, you know, is just being able to
be
inside somebody's
good.
Head and knowing, you know, that might hurt somebody's feelings. I can be honest, but I can do it maybe without hurting their feelings.
I don't want to hurt feelings.
That tends to slip
that's true.
a little bit as we age.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, the study concludes that the gains that we make in middle age more than offset the things that we lose. But the late 50s are the sweet spot.
It's good.
It's the point where the hard-won wisdom compensates for what might be the dwindling speed of your brain.
I like it. Good for all you youngins that are right around 58. Good.
Oh, you kids.
Good for you kids. That is the Wilder Show podcast. We're on Instagram. Search Wilder Show Pod. On Instagram, you'll find us. You'll like it. You'll share it and all that. And appreciate that. Follow it. If you want to send us an email about what Lauren talked about or anything else, just send your email to podcast@wildershow.com. Podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. So like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. And separately, we're also on the TikTok at Wilder Show. All right. That is it for this time. Lauren, thank you.
You bet.
And we will see you next time.
Do 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 do.